Good morning.
Good morning.
First day of July. Well, second day of July. Yeah. Don't mind me. Welcome to the Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional land of the Catawba, the Kiawe, the Sugary peoples, and my name is Vanessa Sampson Schneider. I'll be your worship assistant for Reverend Dr. Amy Rio this morning. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values will challenge you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our visitors and members, we're very glad you're here in person or with us online, and we hope to see you again. Your presence is a gift to us. So our announcements for this Sunday. Our church-wide covered dish picnic is this Saturday from 11:30 to 1:30 at the Wildlife Shelter at Frank Lisk Park. Our membership team will provide eco-friendly paper products, chips, and ice. You know that we are in a UU church when we say eco-friendly paper products. Like, we are on it. Please bring food and drink to share, along with an ingredient list to assist people with food allergies, another very UU thing. And so please also bring games to share and camp chairs if you have them for seating. The church office will be closed for the 4th of July holiday on both Monday and Tuesday of this week. And for other important information about our vibrant community, please see our order of service, or if you're on the email list, please check our monthly newsletter and weekly announcements. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
Hear now these words from Tracy Bleakney. The chalice burns with twin flames. The first flame burns for those who seek and defend the right to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, so that each person may live according to conscience in a democratically elected society. The second flame burns for the defenders of freedom, working against those who would impose their own religious beliefs on others through intimidation or legislation. May we tend this fire always, ever vigilant and courageous in the struggle for freedom and justice for all people. Please join me now in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith.
May we find peace.
I invite you now to please stand as you are willing or able for our call to worship. Spirit of life and love, we come before you black and brown and red and yellow and alabaster. We come longing for the simpler days that truly never were our lot. And we are American.
Hear these voices, as in the complexity of our days. We are humanist and Christian, Muslim and Jew, pagan and atheist, and Buddhist and UU, and we are American.
Amongst the division of our days, we've struggled in poverty, and we've accepted the profits of wealth, and we are American.
As light is shown on our divisions, we live with often unacknowledged privilege, and we are moved to rage at the complexity of intersecting oppressions, and we are Americans.
In the challenge of our days, we are ones who support my country, right or wrong, and we are ones who claim the traditions of dissent, and we are American.
Spirit of hope, sit with us in our diversities. Help us hear one another in our divisions. Grant that, beginning in this community, we may honor one another's truths and know that a just and faithful tomorrow begins here in our hearts. We are Americans.
Let us remain standing as you are able for our first hymn, number 131, found in our gray hymnals, Love Will Guide Us. Please be seated. I believe all of our little ones are out splashing around in some pool on this hot morning, so I'm going to save that book I have picked out for another Sunday. So let's go ahead and move into our sacred time of sharing. And I hope some of us can go splash around in pools later today if that's something we want to. So during this time for ritual and sacred sharing, we share our joys and our sorrows, our concerns and milestones. This morning, we light our candles. We light a candle for Eileen's husband, Ed, with his recent falls. He is now in a rehabilitation center in Spencer, and is hoping within the next few weeks to be able to go back home. We light a candle for Jim as he continues to recover from his recent procedure. A candle for Jeff J. I spoke with Pam. Jeff has been in the hospital this weekend with his bronchial situation. and hopes to go home tomorrow. They're looking at different meds and doing some tests. We light a candle for respect and unity and compassion in our country. We light a candle for all who are being intentionally marginalized and harmed in our society today. For the ongoing struggle for civil rights in Iran. For all areas of violence around the world, especially Sudan and the war in Ukraine. Now at this time, you are welcome to come forward and you may fill out a prayer card and place it on our prayer wall. You may light your own candle of joy or concern, or you may place a stone in our shared water. We now light a few more candles for the things we hold in our hearts this morning which remain unspoken, and also for those who are joining us virtually to honor what is in their hearts as well. I now invite us into a time of quiet rest, meditation, or prayer. We will follow the sound of the singing bowl into this period of silence. And then after that, Anne will lead us with our musical meditation.
I needed that this morning. I watched the news before I came to church, and I shouldn't have. And so today's wisdom reading is a selection from One Today by Richard Blanco, and it's for all of us, One Today, an inaugural poet's journey. So, one sun rose on us today, kindled over our shores, peeking over the Smokies, greeting the faces of the Great Lakes, spreading a simple truth across the Great Plains, then charging across the Rockies. One light, waking up rooftops, under each one, a story told by our silent gestures moving beyond windows. My face, your face, millions of faces in morning's mirrors, each one yawning to life, crescendoing into our day. Pencil yellow school buses, the rhythm of traffic lights, fruit stands, apples, limes, and oranges arrayed like rainbows, begging our praise. Silver trucks heavy with oil or paper, bricks or milk, teeming over highways alongside us, on our way to clean tables, to read ledgers, or save lives, or to teach geometry or ring up groceries as my mother did for 20 years so I could write this poem. All of us as vital as one light we move through, the same light on blackboards with lessons for the day, equations to solve, history to question, and atoms to be imagined. The I have a dream we keep dreaming, or the impossible vocabulary or sorrow that won't explain the empty desk of 20 children marked absent today and forever. Many prayers, but one light breathing color into stained glass windows, life into the faces of bronze statues, warmth onto the steps of our museums and park benches as mothers watch children slide into the day. One ground, our ground, rooting us to every stalk of corn, every head of wheat sown by sweat and hands, hands gleaning coal or planting windmills in deserts and hilltops that keep us warm, hands digging trenches, routing pipes and cables, hands as worn as my father's cutting sugar cane so my brother and I could have books and shoes. The dust of farms and deserts, cities and plains, mingled by one wind, our breath. Breathe. Hear it through the day's gorgeous din of honking cabs, buses launching down avenues, the symphony of footsteps, guitars, and screeching subways, the unexpected songbird on your clothesline. Hear squeaky playground swings, trains whistling, or whispers across cafe tables. Hear doors slam as we open, hear doors as we open for each other all day saying hello, shalom, buongiorno, howdy, namaste, and buenos dias, in the language my mother taught me, in every language spoken into one wind carrying our lives without prejudice, as these words break from my lips. One sky, since the Appalachians and Sierras claimed their majesty and the Mississippi and Colorado worked their way to the sea. Thank the work of our hands, weaving steel into bridges, finishing one more report for the boss on time, stitching another wound or uniform, the first brushstroke on a portrait, or the last floor of the Freedom Tower, jutting into the sky that yields our resilience. We head home, through the gloss of rain or weight of snow, or the plum blush of dusk, but always home, always under one sky, our sky, and always one moon like a silent drum tapping on every rooftop and every window of one country, all of us, facing the stars, hope, a new constellation waiting for us to map it, waiting for us to name it together.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. I think that poem about this country, our society, all of us so different being together. Now, there's an old saying, which I'm sure most, if not all of you, have heard. It goes, "Love is blind." Y'all heard that? Yes, I may have said it sometimes. Now, I can remember being in high school and and I thought, well, oh yes, love is blind. But then starting to question that some when I saw some friends oblivious to some serious flaws in some of their boyfriends. So hopefully with age and maturity, one realizes that love doesn't make one oblivious to flaws. True love is loving with eyes wide open. For example, a romantic partner knows challenges with their significant other and finds ways to work with them. It might mean, being not necessarily truthful about when it's time to leave to go somewhere to someone who is chronically late. That may have been part of my existence for a number of years. A good parent understands areas of growth for their child and encourages opportunities to be a more well-rounded and independent individual one day. A good friend is honest and compassionate, loving someone for who they truly are. Now, along our theme about people who just tend to run in a little different time clock, I remember two of my closest friends just always seemed to be a little late because that's just how things were. And after one party I had at my home, I thought, these are not the two people I need to ask to bring an appetizer. I need to ask them to bring dessert. So true love is not blind. Now, this same thing should go for our country, shouldn't it? During this weekend especially, we hear a great deal of language about how we should love America. And the comments focus on how people who don't love America are unpatriotic. Now, this kind of mindset has played out throughout our nation's history and even before its inception. Biblical imagery has been used since the Puritans first came upon these shores. Language such as the chosen people of God, being a light or a city upon a hill for all the nations to see as a shining example. The phrase, the greatest nation on the planet. And for some people, loving this country means being intentionally blind to anything less than perfection. Now, just in recent years, we have seen the seminal history book, the 1619 Project, banned because of the history it covered of slavery on this continent. The first enslaved individual came here in 1619, well before the country was even founded. People want to ignore or pretend that racism or other ills of this society are in the past. And we certainly have seen evidence of that this past week. Love is unfortunately blind or ignorant for so many when it comes to talking about our country. And blind love is superficial love. True, deep love is seeing the whole thing, warts and all, and moving with hope towards a better relationship, a better world. Now, one of the foundations of our country is separation of church and state. Yet all of us who are a part of this church community, this church family, we live within this country. So what does this holiday weekend mean for us? How do we best live out our principles as UUs while being citizens of this country? So I want to offer 3 words. It's a little vague, but these 3 words are foundational. Lead with love. Lead with love. Firstly, we can lead with love, with the love of diversity and inclusion. Racial, religious, age, and gender diversity have been prominent since before the beginnings of this country. One of the courses I taught during my years at Salem College was Religion in America. Religious diversity has been here from the early get-go. And if we know our Unitarian Universalist history, people who we consider our ancestors of the faith were absolutely here before the get-go with Unitarian and Universalist beliefs. While this great diversity has been here since before 1776, inclusion certainly has not been. True love of diversity and inclusion go far beyond the bumper sticker thoughts of respect or coexistence, or basic tolerance. True love of diversity and inclusion, if we lead with true love of diversity and inclusion, it means that we make every attempt to be in community with others, especially others who we might perceive as being quite different from ourselves. During the many years I spent working as a collegiate minister, I did a lot of interfaith work. And when I first stepped into that, it really was around 9/11 when I first began to do a lot of serious interfaith work, not just surface work. And I realized there was so much more that bound us together than separated us. True love of diversity and inclusion means trying to see the world through someone else's eyes as a way of life, something we do on an ongoing basis. Now, for those of us who come from a place of privilege, that requires a lot more work than we might think. It's an ongoing process of educating ourselves, not expecting others to educate us, and listening far more than we speak. It's a lifetime's work. So firstly, we lead with love of diversity and inclusion. Secondly, we lead with love by our love of our global community. Now, one of my favorite hymns in my younger years was "This Is My Song." It was written by Lloyd Stone in 1934. The second stanza goes, "My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and mine. This idea of American exceptionalism is counter to our basic UU principles. We believe that all of creation, without all the human-made boundaries we have imposed, all of creation is imbued with sacred spirit. All people, regardless of where they may live or political citizenship, all people are imbued with divine light. So we lead with love, firstly by our love of diversity and inclusion. Secondly, our love for our global community. And thirdly, we lead with love when we recognize the challenges and even the sins of our country, and thus how we can be better and move towards hope. Now, this reflects back to the beginning of our message today. True love is not blind. We know that this country was founded on genocide of indigenous peoples and what American religious historian Albert Raboteau calls the original sin of racist enslavement. Looking at this history and its ongoing repercussions with honest eyes, and then moving forward with integrity based upon this knowledge and understanding, that is what will help heal our country and unify our land. An example of this is like when a couple goes to marriage counseling. When a couple goes and they need to talk through what's not going quite right or could be going better in their relationship, if one partner or neither of them recognizes harm that has been done in the relationship, then there's no way to heal it. If they don't recognize the damage or the harm, if they don't deal with the damage and the harm, it will fester and grow and consume the relationship. I think for many people in today's world and in our society, when we think about the phrase loving our country, it's been so co-opted to mean a blind love and American exceptionalism that many of us might struggle with it. 25 years ago, I had arrived back from a week and a half in China with my then husband to adopt our little baby girl. And while I was there, some experiences I had and some things that I learned and acknowledged about what my daughter might have experienced as she had remained in China and had not been adopted, what some of the women were dealing with. It gave me a different understanding and perspective on what it meant to be a citizen of this country. And of course, adopting Ava, she automatically became a citizen too. If we truly love this land, we will love it with eyes wide open, actively engaging with a fuller history. And that is what will lead us to a more optimistic and inclusive future. Now, there are some days, some weeks, when this seems more challenging. And I think we know in recent days, with legal decisions being made, it certainly feels like it is a more challenging time. Yet the blue skies are here with us. We are here together, and so many more are here together with us in spirit. Love does conquer all, and leading with love does transform the world. Now, I'd like to conclude by sharing the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. Some of you may know these by heart. Others may not quite be at that point, but you kind of have a general idea of what they say. These are the guiding principles of our faith. It's how we live in community, how we proceed forward individually, and thus how we live in this country. These 7 principles display the true beauty of love and unity. We believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and within society at large. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
I'm just gonna put Ann on like a little thing behind me so she could just play as I walk into the room, everywhere I go. And then I need Reverend Amy to be able to just read me the phone book, because her voice is just so soothing. I can't. That's what I'm over here thinking about when I'm supposed to be focused. But And so now let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. This month, we are sharing our offering plate with NC Warren. NC Warren is a 35-year-old nonprofit organization tackling the accelerating crisis posed by climate change by building people power for a swift North Carolina transition to clean power and by promoting energy and climate justice. Cool beans. We ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room, or you may wait and drop it into one of the baskets as you exit our space. And you are always welcome to give online at puuc.org, or you may give by texting PUUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
We give thanks for all the generous gifts that you offer this community of your time, talents, and treasures, so that we might go forth and help share love with the world. Let us now stand and sing as you're willing or able for our closing hymn. It's found in our teal hymnal, number 1018, Come and Go With Me. Before we extinguish our chalice, I would like to offer thanks for all the many volunteers who helped make our worship service possible. And I also ask that before you leave today, if you'll please place the hymnals back on the cart near the piano. That will be a big help. So let us end, as we do every Sunday, by taking time to give thanks, either in our hearts or with words, for all the things for which we are grateful today.
For that wonderful song and whoever picked it out.
For that wonderful song, yes.
Eyes wide open.
For eyes wide open, yes. I found a lost journal 40 years ago. Wow. This is what happens when you clean up. So Meredith has found a lost journal from 40 years ago, which I bet is fascinating. Yeah.
Finished projects.
Finished projects. Oh yeah, I'd like to be thankful for some of those. I need to get to work. So.
Dogs in church.
Dogs in church. Absolutely. That makes me so happy too. So.
I really appreciate all the way from the servant assistant to the minister to the music today. I'm emotional.
Yeah, just giving thanks for all the leaders of worship today and for the service. So thank you, Carl. Thank you. Well, I give thanks for a little less smoke in our area and a little more sunshine. Hope that continues. Well, I know that we all have so much more which fills our hearts this morning, and we give thanks for all those things. So let us now go forth, reaching across lines to join hands so that our hands together might till the land for a rich harvest. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we wander. May it be so.